Let me ask you a question. Are you ready for the next financial storm in your life? Because one thing I can promise you is that you will have financial storms. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about my financial storm that I had to endure just last year, and more importantly, what I did not only to survive, but to thrive. Stay tuned. Frank Thomas here from Wealth Generation Strategies, and today I'm going to be talking about something that people just don't like to talk about, and that's learning how to survive financial chaos in the midst of a financial storm in our lives. Hey, I totally understand it. Why it's not great to talk about this? It's because why do we want to talk about anything that's disastrous? It's right up there with talking about writing your will, but that's a whole different topic. So how do we prepare for the next financial storm? I had to endure a crazy storm in 2023 that could have totally derailed my financial plans, but because I had a strategy in place, we may have taken a hit financially, but it didn't completely derail our financial plans. I was in a position with a company that was going through a lot of turmoil, and it eventually trickled down to my level. I tried to make things right, but I did find that it was causing me so much personal stress that I knew it was time to move on. Yeah, well, at the time I didn't have anything else to migrate to, but I knew that we had done some preparing for such a time as this. And that's another side effect of these points that I'll be covering today, is that it's going to buy you time if you need to change your job. Let me tell you, nothing is worse than having to take anything that you can find just to keep the food on the table. That, to me, sucks because you can be in a position you really hate. So let me start with the first strategy that we put into place to weather this storm. And I think I'll be saving what I think is the very best strategy for the very end, because it's something you can put into practice right after you watch this video. Okay, number one. Having a 6-month cash reserve. I know it seems a little heady, but this is a big one. Over the course of the past 2 years, we've been building up a cash reserve in our emergency fund, as well as our business, to cover any time that we're bringing any more income into our business. Because I could see the writing on the wall where I was at, I decided I need to make sure that we had saved as much of a reserve as I could in our business, just in case. At the same time, I was managing the other side of the money equation, and that brings us to our next strategy, managing our debt. Having a business does increase this complexity, but it's pretty much the same as just handling personal debt management. Make sure you're not carrying too much debt that will need to be serviced during the storm. I doubled down at the same time as creating that reserve and made sure as much of our business debt and our personal debt was covered. All high interest debt like credit cards was completely paid off. Let me tell you, nothing's worse than trying to juggle debt when there isn't a stream of income coming in. So be sure that you keep your expenses as low as possible so you're not put into a financially compromising situation. And that actually leads me into point number 3, and that is what I call guerrilla budgeting tactics. Having a budget is critical at all times, but when a financial storm occurs, it may be the difference between sinking or swimming. Now, in guerrilla budgeting, you build what I like to call a minimum survival budget. This is the budget that cuts all unnecessary expenses from your expense column. This will include things like long-term savings, subscriptions you don't need, and reducing expense categories in general. During this time, I also reduced our fund money, to give you an example, by about 25%, but I still want to have some fund money coming in. You still got to have a little bit of fun, but survival was paramount. That was the highest priority. With our guerrilla budget in place, we knew how much it would cost us to live and how long our cash reserve was actually going to last us. That's an important side note. You need to know how long you can keep the lights on, so to speak. This is one time where you don't wish and hope. Disaster will strike you where you stand, if you adopt this attitude. We knew that all things considered, we were secure for about 5, maybe 6 months with zero income coming in. This also meant we would not touch our long-term savings, which is what we wanted to protect above all else if possible. So I would recommend taking the time and build a guerrilla budget regardless. Know what your hard expenses are that must be paid on an ongoing basis. You may look at the other expenses and start asking yourself if you shouldn't possibly shave them now. Puts more money in your pocket. Set up a guerrilla budget. Before I jump into the fourth tactic, if you're enjoying this video, and give it a like. And if you want to see more content just like this, consider subscribing. That way, you'll be sure to see the next time I publish my next video. But let's get into point number 4, and that is rallying the troops. I believe this is a critical step when the storm is about to break. Get your whole family on board to help make the difference between success and failure. During our storm in 2023, my wife stepped up to the plate and really pushed to bring in as much business as possible through her personal quilting business. And I'll tell you something, it made a tremendous difference in the long run. She was able to raise a whole month of extra income to the cause over that time. It allowed us to fill in that extra month we desperately needed before I start getting paid again. So do consider what your significant other can do to help the cause. Also, if you have children in a household, don't hide the fact that there's financial troubles afoot. Teach them how they can contribute and feel like they're part of the solution and not the problem. I'm not sure how it'll look for you, but I would definitely not consider this time shameful because it's life. In life, there's good times and bad. There's times of abundance and times of lack, and that's just the way it is. If you can teach your kids this before they become adults, it's a life lesson that will help them through their whole entire lives. They need to see failure as well as success. Parenting tip for you. Okay, number 5, take advantage of this downtime. As I mentioned in the introduction, I believe this to be super important for the long run. Remember, this downturn is only temporarily, but do take full advantage of it when it happens. You'll need to spend some time looking for new work to put your hand to, but also there will be time when you have time on your hands that you normally wouldn't have. And this is an excellent time to upgrade your skills. Consider taking some courses to either upgrade or update your skill set. You may even consider taking this time or some of this time to work on some of the business ideas that have been perking in the back of your mind. Nothing stopping you from taking some time to maybe even write a book or start a new business. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. This way you can use your time 100% constructively, and it will pay you out in spades. During 2023, I did take some time to light up this YouTube channel and learn how to actually build a channel and a following you guys, basically, how to get you guys here. I might not have monetized the channel in that time period, but it did get it off to a good start. So when I was starting to work again, I was able to keep the ball rolling. Today, as I film this video, the channel has close to 800 subscribers, and it's just a few months away from monetization. So something I put my hand to while I was out of work will start to pay me a new income stream today. Another benefit of this is you can make yourself worth more in the marketplace. If you pick up some new skills, you can be employed to harness them in one of your future jobs. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. During 2023, I did take some time to learn more about a new programming technology that was emerging in my area of expertise. Now, I've got a position paying me about 10% more on that very technology. One final advantage of using your time constructively is it doesn't allow you to fall into depression. If you're job hunting and if you become depressed, you'll discover it will make finding that next exciting opportunity impossible. Seems that people are very perceptive and can see that depression as a negative and disqualifying you from a possible great opportunity, and you don't want that. Things worked out for me because I instituted each and every strategy that I mentioned today. Take a few minutes, map out your disaster plan before you have a disaster, start to put away Figure out what your gorilla budget numbers are and what you can put your hand to today and possibly start maybe a second stream of income. Who knows? You might even discover that you can completely mitigate the need for having a job. Between you and me, that's pretty exciting and it is possible. And if you are interested in discovering strategies on how you can get that initial cash reservoir saved rapidly, which can definitely help your efforts, be sure to check out the video that's showing right now. In that video, I covered 10 fantastic ways to save rapidly. They're so good that I was able to save over $100,000 in under 2 years by deploying them, so be sure to check it out. It's very worthwhile to watch. Otherwise, I want to thank you for sharing this moment of your life with me today, and I hope to see you again in the future. This is Frank Thomas, and I'm going to say bye for now. Bye-bye.